The Star Beast was copyrighted in 1954 by Robert A. Heinlein and published by Charles Scribner's Sons in that same year. This is the first of the juveniles to have no interior illustrations, but the cover art and title page were done by Clifford Geary. Because of the lack of illustrations, for the video montage portion of this review, I will use some of the cover art of the many editions of this book that have been published. This is the 8th of the juveniles, and as it was with all of the previous books, the plot and characters are unique. Set in the 22nd century, the book has two distinct storylines, lines that eventually intersect, and the point of view changes among the several characters that populate these storylines. This is an interesting plot device and allows Heinlein to build suspense as the reader tries to anticipate how and when the two plot lines will meet. The first storyline probably takes place in Colorado, although it is never stated, and has three principal characters. Lummox, the title character, is an alien brought to Earth by the great-grandfather of the book's ostensible main character, John Thomas Stewart XII. John Thomas is a teenage boy who takes care of Lummox and tries with limited success to keep the beast out of trouble. Lummox, who was small enough to fit in a jump bag when brought to Earth, has grown to the size of a medium tank and is just about as tough. The close relationship of the two and their loyalty to each other is a crucial part of the story. John Thomas also has a friend, Betty Sorensen, who plays an important role in this book, even though the point of view is never centered on her. Like Lummox, Betty is loyal to John Thomas and tries to look out for him, and while John Thomas seems oblivious to the romantic implications of their relationship, Betty is not. The second storyline takes place in the Federation capital, the location of which is not stated, but in other Heinlein books is in Nassau. There are two main characters in this line, and both have the point of view at various times. Henry Gladstone Kiku, OBE, Permanent Undersecretary for Spatial Affairs, is one of the most powerful men in the Federation. Sergei Greenberg is his go-to assistant and is assigned all the hard jobs because he gets them done. As the story develops, the two men are involved in some tricky negotiations with a newly discovered alien race called the Hiroshi. I'll allow the reader to discover how the seemingly unrelated plotline eventually intersects with the one in Colorado, but it is through circumstances that only Heinlein could make believable. As a character, Kiku is especially noteworthy because he is from Kenya and is black. In 1954, one simply did not depict black men in such roles, and if this had not been science fiction, I doubt if any editor from a major house would have approved it. Heinlein, always a step ahead, would cross the color line again in another of the juveniles. The double plot lines make this an intricate novel, more so than the previous juveniles, but with well-developed, believable, and likable characters as well as non-stop action, Heinlein carries it off. The book is readable and never boring. As with his other works, Heinlein does not indulge in the poetic descriptions of scenery and characters that impresses critics and professors of literature. Rather, we learn about the characters by watching what they do. The Star Beast is another masterpiece by the original dean of science fiction.